lost my dog last week, Harley. He was so sweet, my best bud. Always right by my side. In the mornings when my husband would get up and start getting ready for work, Harley would jump up on the bed, lay down right in my husband's spot, put his head on his pillow, and just stare at me while I slept. And when I opened my eyes and saw that cute little face, Harley's tail would just start going thump, 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 thump on the bed. The day after he died, my 12-year-old stepdaughter asked that if we prayed for Harley, why didn't God save him? I bet every single one of us has asked some version of that question at some point in our lives. And so I've been thinking about those why questions that we can sometimes get so caught up on. And I could have the theological discussion with you answering that question, but my heart tells me that's not what's needed. You see, there's power in the why questions. Little kids discover this. Once they discover the power of that question, why, they can take you on an endless journey with it. Why do birds fly? To get where they're going. Why? Because they're looking for food. Why? Because they need to eat. Why? Because they need to nourish their bodies. Why? And there's no end to the questions, right? We never really get to the answer of those why questions. You see, in the midst of grief or depression or suffering, our mind goes to those whys. It's a desire of our intellect, a desire of the human part of us that wants to have a reason, that wants to wrap it all up in a nice little logical bow. But in the midst of these times, our mind is not the thing that needs to be nourished. It's our soul. Charles Fillmore said, "Lay your burdens upon spirit. Say unto them, I gladly let you go." What I've discovered is that the whys, the what ifs, those questions are unhelpful. But I discovered through the midst of this journey with grief, two questions that are helpful. The first one is, what is true for me right now? You see, in the midst of suffering, we have that lure of our intellect to try and figure things out, that we can sometimes ignore what is true right in this moment. You could tell me that Harley had to die so that 1 million people could be saved. Even if you could know that, even if that were true, that doesn't change the fact that right now in this moment, I really miss him. So question number one, what is true in this moment? In this moment, are you feeling pain? Are you sad? Are you fearful? Are you feeling uncertain? Getting clarity, going within to find that clarity of what is true for me in my body, in my heart, in my soul, right now in this moment. And question number two, knowing that that's true. What do I need from Spirit to support me? What aspects of the divine can I call upon in the truth of this moment for me, in the truth of my suffering and my grief and my confusion? What aspects of the divine that are inherent in me can I invoke to support me, knowing that this is true for me right now? Sometimes the aspects that we need is strength to just get through the next few hours. Sometimes it's imagination, to consider possibilities we had never thought possible before. Sometimes what we need is wisdom to know the next right step. Sometimes what we need is the power of love, a reminder that love transcends time and space. Sometimes we need the power of faith, the faith and the trust that it won't always be this hard. You see, when we lose someone, in our grief, what we're feeling is the absence of their presence. And in Ephesians chapter 2, verses 8 and 9, Paul says, "For by grace you have been saved through faith, and that is not your own doing. It is the gift of God, not the result of works, so that no one may boast." You see, what Paul is saying to those people in that time is the same thing that he's saying to us today as Westerners in this productivity-obsessed culture. That it is not what you do, but it is who you are. Or in the words of Bernard Beckwith, presence is not an act, but a state of being. That presence that you miss when someone is gone, it's that spark of the divine that expressed as them in this time and in this place. And that same presence is inherent in you. That power and that support and that nourishment of spirit, that is spirit, that beingness that is God, lives and dwells in you as well. And that is your support. That is your strength. That is your courage. That even in the midst of suffering, spirit is there. It can handle this. And because you are a manifestation of spirit, because spirit dwells in you, you can handle it too. You see, that is the call of suffering, the call of grief and the call of depression. It is a call to remember the power of the presence of spirit moving within, through, and as you. We were never promised, and it would be unreasonable to expect, that through the power of spirit, everything would go our way. That we would get everything that we want, our life would be smooth and perfect, that there would be no pain. We do not call upon spirit to change our circumstances, but to change us from the inside out. To give us the strength, the wisdom, the imagination, the faith, the courage, the love, to be able to get through even the greatest of suffering. Because spirit can handle it, which means you can handle it. The gift of presence, the power of presence, is the ability to trust that spirit's got our back, so we can show up as the full presence that we are in every moment of our lives, to be fully in our lives, to be fully ourselves, no matter what. That is the power of presence. Because by really being present to our suffering and to our pain, we find the power of presence that can transform any circumstance. Not because it's easy, not because we deserve it, but through grace, through faith, we can be transformed and we can be healed. You see, the greatest gift that we can give ourselves and the greatest gift of the divine are one and the same: the power of presence.